SB.
Welcome.
All right, I think we're on. Hello, SB. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Welcome to episode 3 of Perspectives.
Yes, this is wonderful.
This is so wonderful. One of the we've been getting so many comments and
Have we?
emails and
Good.
replies. Yeah, from the last couple of episodes.
Great.
And everyone's been emailing in, what they want to learn more about,
Good.
what some of the conversations. that they
Good.
want
That's what I
know
want to
about.
do.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and we're having great responses so far. And one of the things that I would love to connect with you on today and find out more about is the conversation around. There's so many people who are starting out in business now, and they can see the success that you created and the culture that you created.
The overnight success.
Yeah, the overnight success that happened. And it
was nothing. Was hanging around. And
Yeah,
voila.
and all of a sudden,
It
there's a magic hill.
without any effort.
Just on the beach.
Yeah.
With a laptop.
With a laptop.
So
On that, Tim Ferriss never meant the 4-hour work week to be taken literally.
yeah,
Did you know that?
I didn't actually.
Yeah. So he's spoken now in a couple of podcasts and made it really clear. It just became the title. He did it through a blog competition.
Yeah,
And it just became the title that everybody resonated with the most.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, Tim has never only done 4 hours in
Yeah.
a week. And he doesn't have his laptop at the beach.
No.
Just so we're clear. So this whole kill the myth now early.
Yes.
I'm such a motivational speaker. But I can't perpetuate that BS. So Tim never has done a 4-hour work week unless it's
Yeah.
on holiday.
I don't know anyone successful
No.
to do a 4-hour work week.
Yeah. It was more a tag or a symbol of getting organised
Yeah.
and delegating where you can.
Yeah.
And
what's
that's how-
possible?
And 4 hours isn't possible, but so we're clear, Tim's
Yeah,
never said that and doesn't believe that. He's saying this is symbolic of how to think smart about your business,
Yeah.
how to use virtual assistants and how to outsource and stuff like that. It was never get it down to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If you only want to put 4 hours into your thing, it ain't your freaking thing.
Completely.
When was the last time I did 4 hours on any day of the week of it's every day. It's my
Yes.
thing. I've just had a holiday. It's my thing.
Yes.
Same for you. It's your thing.
Completely. And you want to put the time into
Yes.
it. It lights you up.
Yeah. So
That's
anyone's
so true,
saying
actually.
they want to make all that money from just doing 4 hours, what are you
Yeah.
going to do with the rest of the week?
Yes.
It's like, really?
That's actually such a good point.
It's
If you
so-
only want to work 4 hours, it's not your thing.
Then what are you going to do the rest of the week? Sit on the beach? Well, most people have had enough on the beach after 2 weeks and have really had enough after a day because they've been.
Yes.
So we're at 2 weeks' time. We've done the laptop lifestyle. We've done 8 hours work, and our competitors have done that in a day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, the world isn't wired that way. And if the world was wired that way, it'd be a very unfair world. Because I believe, because you'd be basically saying no matter the effort, it's not commensurate with results or smart effort. Whereas I think Tim's combining both smart effort with effort. I don't quite like that.
And it has to be both of it together.
I think so.
And I think especially at the beginning, when you're starting, when you're bringing it to life and when you're getting things going, it's a different. I think one of the concepts that people mistake is, they see the success that you have now, for example, and some people can sometimes misunderstand the journey that earns that success. You earn your days when you can sit and write the book that you love, and you earn your days when you have, you can put aside, we can sit down and have a cup of tea and do a podcast together.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, it's not going to be everything that you love all the time.
It's still not everything I love all the time. And that is such a great point. To think we have to be in love with, there's this thing about flow that's huge. And I can't say the guy's name who invented it. Joe, what's his name?
Mihai Csikszentmihalyi.
Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Thanks, Joe. That guy, he's been studying flow for decades. And in it, it's about having balance between the amount of challenge, the amount of enjoyment, where you're not too challenged, but you're not bored. We have enough enjoyment that you engage and you disappear in it. And a lot of commentators now say the idea is to be having flow experiences in your business. Stop again. Oh gosh, I'm so motivational. It can't all be flow. There is, in the beginning, it's not all exciting because it's just hard. And it can't be that right amount of challenge where it's not too boring or too hard because it's all hard. all of it is hard. Turning out to my first client session was hard. There was no flow. Flow is something we earn. And the studies that this guy did, whose name, that's it for this podcast, the studies show that they studied mainly elite athletes and artists and musicians and students completely engrossed in what they were doing. And now they started moving recently to studying workplace. But to get to a flow is not the first day in the job.
No.
There's no flow on the first day.
Yes.
That is earned.
Yeah.
Even the people who love flow, and I'm in flow, and I know you're in flow all the time, man, we've earned this.
Completely.
And so it's all got to be flow. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Suck it up, princess. Do the yards. Do what it actually takes.
Yes.
So you earn the right to have flow because you've achieved elite.
Completely. And so many days as you get to that, it's still not flow all the time. You know,
It's not.
and those days have to be worth it. And I think that's part of the reason why you find the thing that you love. If you find the thing that you want to pour your heart into, so the tough days are worth it, and then the flow is worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and maybe they do turn into flow. Like sales is something was not flow for me. It was incredibly uncomfortable space to be in, and I didn't engage with it in a healthy way. And I brought a lot of my personal issues around that and whatever. I made it a very noisy, dramatic space in my business until I got a handle on it. And now, as you know, sales is a flow for me.
Yeah.
It's almost an effortlessness that doesn't make it flow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because I don't really find it hugely challenging. But it's enough that I've got to be mindful of the pieces.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that in the beginning. I mean, I avoided sales. I went probably, I don't know how true this is, but a lot of my attraction to being a writer prior to going to business was the appeal of not going out and having to have that feeling of selling myself or selling a product, not realizing, of course, all book sales come from sales. I didn't make that connection. I was very naive. So there was 10 years of hiding that way and not really being full on upfront with what this narrative involves and how to engage in a healthy way. So flow to me has been decades long getting to in some areas.
Yeah.
And so anybody who's coming to business, you know, if we're going to look at my startup, I can't remember a flow moment in the beginning.
At that beginning.
It was uncomfortable and stretched me, and I was very uncertain and very insecure and very concerned that I was doing the wrong thing by the client. I was overly anxious about being prepared for sessions.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about that period in terms of starting out and discovering what are some of those personal challenges, because you create many multi-million-dollar businesses now. So how did you get to that first million, that beginning where you're learning things that you were uncomfortable with, learning things that you were avoiding and hiding away from before? How did you make that leap, I suppose, from...
Well, it didn't feel like a leap. It felt like a walk, crawling. And then coming home to my husband, I can't do it. It was a very noisy, dramatic space that first 6 months, I remember. It was, I became a coach with no intention of doing my first million or my second or so on. I became a coach because I needed to get my shit sorted. So becoming a coach was a pathway to me, a potential pathway, one of many that I would explore over my lifetime, I'm sure, to find some peace within me, because I was so naturally anxious. Then I learned later about attachments and attachment styles and a whole bunch of other things around developmental, for children, the developmental issues that impact us. I didn't know that. I just knew I'm way too immersed in anxiety and way too easily leaning towards depression, way too easily having, I just found it so easy to struggle with my identity. I found that way too easy. I just very naturally went to the dark side, whereas I knew there was a lot of optimism in me, but I just didn't know how to tap into it. So coaching to me, I could get a coach or become a coach. Coach would help me and hopefully help me resolve that. But if I became a coach, I would have access to those tools. And it would be with me, and it is true now, all these years later, it's with me, which is just amazing. So I'm always grateful for the first decision. So it was very much, the first 6 months was a lot of tears, a lot of tantrums, no tiaras, that came later. making too much of a big deal. Now I train my students and the program is around what I did that worked. I've left out all the hours of angst and self-doubt and, sweaty palms and not thinking I can do it and convinced it'll never work. So I did $25,000 in my first year and invested all of that, as Joe says, the real estate between my ears, because I realized this had potential, this had legs if I could get some game.
Yes.
I could see only blue sky. I could see, maybe not a million, but I do remember speaking to my husband, seeing through. We did some easy maths at breakfast one day, and we came out at $350,000. Was relatively, it seemed quite easy if I could get game.
Yeah.
So the constant was you could always do well in this business. The variable was how much game you could bring to the business.
You could bring to
and I think that's true in a lot of industries.
Yeah.
That the constant is the industry. It's doing really well, thank you very much. With or without
That's
you,
how it exists.
it's doing well. The variable is us showing up in it and thinking we're going to create a slipstream, or are we just going to create a bare ripple and it's fading away because we suck.
Yeah.
So not sucking became my primary objective of my first year in business as a human being.
Yeah.
Don't suck. Okay. It's not motivational, it's not inspirational, but it is what it is. It was just how much of the suck can I reduce? It's not how much can I rock. The thought of me rocking was very early days, and it certainly wasn't a natural conversation I'd have with myself. And, I was out of focus around that. In that first year, that first 6 months, predominantly, it was, I can't trust or believe in me. The first 6 months was really about how much pain can I tolerate as I face my next demon. So every single thing I did was facing a demon. Everything. My first client session, I was dry retching and sweaty palms. I'm dry hands now, but just the fear that I was going to be judged and found out and found to be the fraud I felt I was. I was dealing with massive anxiety, huge insecurity, and very little bluster and very little truth to I rock. So I didn't have a lot to deal with to make it an easy journey for me or a transition into some form of business. So what I decided in that first 6 months, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about believing in myself. I'm just going to find what works and I'm just going to believe in that. Because I have to, for my own sanity, stop believing I have to be awesome to do this. That doing it well can't rely on the variable, me, because there are plenty of coaches doing it really well. So I removed the variable and I just became a voice for what I was learning. So I studied NLP, coaching, neurosemantics, a whole world of immersion, and I just took the strategy, learned the strategy. I didn't spend a lot of time practicing. I practiced with pro bono clients. And then I would apply the strategy. And I just convinced myself that it wasn't me. I was just channeling their genius.
What a powerful perspective shift.
Survival. So it was either that or not doing it. I was going to stay home and not do it because I didn't have enough of me to show up with any level of conviction.
That's amazing.
It's ridiculous, for goodness sake, come on. But that is the truth.
Well, it's such a powerful strategy.
And I look back, it is. We're running out of tea. Goodness, that happened quickly.
Thank you.
There you go. But it's not ridiculous. I'm being harsh on myself because it is what it is, and it's where I was at, and I have to honour that.
And thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it can be so validating for so many people.
I hope so.
Completely. I speak to so many coaches in our community who, your first coaching session is going to be scary, and it's okay for it to be scary.
Oh, and there's so much more than that. And the periphery around the coaching session. Getting prepared for the session. What do I do with my second session? How on earth do I get someone to the sixth session? And you can take that into any business. I've done it once, now I have to replicate that. But it's all a peripheral. It's the marketing, the sales, the administration, the finance, it's the IT, it's building relationships. My first $1 million contract was with Flight Centre, and I only speak highly of Casey Tormey, the very first lady who gave me the gig. I don't know if she ever sees any of the work I do, but I sing her praises around the globe. She was I cold called. And again, I was just channeling strategies that
Yeah.
I figured would work. I was starting to show up about this point. So the cold calling started about a few months in. I was like, I'm actually getting comfortable with being comfortable at being good at it. So there's 3 steps to that.
And
I'm
it's
just
one of the
comfortable.
things. It's one of the things that you now put in the courses and we teach our students that now is you don't have to have to believe in yourself. You just apply the strategy.
Yeah.
You get the
The
results.
strategy will get you there if the strategy is proven. If one person's done it and it's replicable, you are the variable now to make it replicable. That's the thing. You, as long as you're doing it, you become the constant. And that, do you get the difference between constant and variable? The constant was the coaching industry is a massive industry and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. End of conversation. The variable was me whether or not I was going to be a part of that or not. Then I got to turn myself into the constant, so I am part of it. So I just turned myself into the constant. I didn't show up as the variable, upset, worried, insecure, or anxious. I showed up with the strategy that was proven, and that made me a constant. And that became very refinable. And I could break that down into its component parts. And I could start to learn why it worked and how it could work with me. And slowly, as a result of that, my narrative in my head began to shift the narrative a little bit from what it was, which we discussed in the previous podcast, to I can do this, I get this, that makes sense, I can access this anytime. And so I stopped a lot of the clatter in my head. So I was a lot freer to focus on, with the amount of attention you can give to anything, I was a lot freer to give it to serving others. So very quickly in that first year, my gears shifted from what's in it for me, how am I doing, how am I being perceived, how am I being judged, will I suck, to how are they doing? And so the moment I could get rid of the clatter and the clutter in my head about me, I had so much space and stayed that way ever since, and only got up free for and as my self-consciousness dropped, how I could notice their self-consciousness increase. And ultimately, I began to realize any business is really about who's got the least self-consciousness is going to be okay. And the person with the most self-consciousness is going to be the least okay and probably going to be the client or the customer. Because they're wanting to get rid of their shame around feeling self-conscious. They're going to want to get rid of feeling uncomfortable in their own skin. They're wanting to get rid of all the things I was wanting to get rid of. So the consumer is always the most self-conscious person. So as my self-consciousness went down, I became present to other people's self-consciousness.
Yeah, to help and serve them.
Yeah, and I got better at reading it and what to do with it and how to interpret it and why it matters and how to be empathetic towards that. And to realize everyone is a walking contradiction of looking good on the outside and feeling self-conscious on the inside. And if I accept that, which I did in the first year, this is why everything took off so quickly, getting clear on that, and if I didn't articulate it like this, but I sensed it and perceived it and tapped into it, I then became very good at making other people comfortable and helping them bring out their best in an unselfconscious way. So a lot of my clients in my first 2 years was working with clients who experienced sexual abuse, as you know, and who'd experienced rape or trauma or accident trauma or medical trauma. And the level of self-consciousness around that, obviously for them quite understandably, is massively high. They've tried a lot of different things that haven't worked. They're very uncomfortable with themselves. They have a lot of anxiety around themselves and their relationship with their past. They're told in a million different ways by the self-help movement, just be positive and focus on the positive and look on the bright side, or time will heal, and a whole bunch of nonsense that is, to me, ultimately damaging and irresponsible. That's how seriously I take it. And so they're trying different solutions over the years. I had one client who was 8 years old, Brian. I'll leave his surname out, but he's very happy talking about it. Brian, he was one of my earliest clients around sexual abuse. And he had carried this around since he was 10, 70 years, not finding a home for his pain and his self-consciousness and his shame. So to get with someone who's really comfortable with that level of personal and intimate and vulnerable conversation and have nothing around it that is about me in that. Am I describing this okay? It kind of just, everything they think they've got to worry about, they don't have to worry about with me.
And it opens them up.
Does that make sense? So that no longer is the thing for them. Self-consciousness is gone, and now it's like we're one mind. It's in the most beautiful, in the most beautiful and kindest, compassionate way possible, that level of intimacy. So then I took that into teams. We took that back.
We'll talk about that one,
Yeah,
about the
for
episode.
some reason, I didn't take that. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But with working with clients, that's what happened. And that, in a second year, translated to the business growing, at that time of practice, growing quite extraordinarily.
It would have been such a powerful shift because you can see how that completely changes the dynamic. And so I'm sure so many people listening to this would be thinking, wow, that's what I've been doing.
Being self-conscious.
Yeah, being self-conscious.
I think most people are.
Yeah. So how did that cold call go, to go back to the story?
Casey? Went really well. So I had a script for it, which it's in the program. And it worked. She was amazing. I think she helped me refine the script because she was so encouraging. So I just started the question, who's managing and organising your success coaching currently Australia-wide? And she says, no one. I said, wow. She goes, you're right. And so we should talk. And she said, yes, we should. So over a lot of tea and in a very short, and then they tested me. They flew me to Brisbane and I had to perform and give a free event in front of 5 of their senior learning and development executives who I still remember very fondly. Robbie Blackburn. There's just always wonderful women who were in this room and they were critiquing me. Yeah. And I remember the opening lines from one of them was, you better not effing suck. I thought, wow.
Good thing you've been working on that one.
Yeah. Exactly. No pressure. And they were the opening lines as I went on stage. It's like, yeah, thanks for that. So, and they endorsed me. And from there, I just got more and more gigs. And eventually it opened up. It became an agency of coaches that I supplied to Flight Centre nationwide and across some other countries, which was wonderful. And that's how my income began going up. But that really, income to me is just the measure of the work and the effort and the things I was learning and willing to learn about. Yeah. A lot of people when they start out, if I could just do my passion, I'd be happy. If I didn't have to market myself, I'd be happy. Well, good for you too. It's like, you want to do this for real. That's what I was saying to you just off camera. You want to be an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, and you take all of it. Yeah. You ain't looking for the right time and you're not planning it in the background and you're not saving your money. You're compelled. You're going to do it because you're compelled. Nothing will stop you. And that is the end of the conversation. So I had to do it. I had to do this call. I had to do this endorsement gig. I had to then start calling experienced coaches who've been doing it a lot longer than me. I was the rookie on the block. Yeah. Introduce myself and then have them coach me to assess them to go into the agency. Wow. And that went good and that went bad. That would have rocked some boats. Yeah. So I know a couple of them still speak poorly of me because I didn't accept them into the agency, and that's really sad because I didn't find their coaching effective. I didn't find it validating. I was literally getting coached by apparently the best coaches in Australia, and 2 of them particularly I didn't put through into the agency, and they were as dark as on that. It was very confronting for someone who was dealing with their own anxiety, wrestling with their own level of self-consciousness, wanting to please and wanting to be liked, because at that stage I didn't understand the difference between business and likability, and I confused them all the time. But I had to make the call that was best for my client. You help enough dreams come true, your dreams get taken care of. I literally was compelled and have been for all these years. It is about the client. Do not mess with my client. And I say that with more passion today than the day I began. You do not mess with my client. Never. Yeah. And that includes prospects and guests. Yeah. Guests and don't mess with them. They are feeling everything I just described about when I started my journey, and possibly more, maybe a little less, more power to them. But there are elements of it. So I couldn't, in all good faith, put these 2 coaches forward because I thought I'm handing them over. In the background, I'm organising contracts, and in the meantime, I have another coaching place. I'll just leave it at place. Try and cut my lunch and contact Flight Centre and say she's not that experienced. Don't go with her. You should go with us. So I remember just fearful phoning Cassie, going, "What does this mean?" It doesn't mean anything. Our contract's with you. Go away. Oh, yeah, good point. Which is where I started learning about good faith and how there are people you can do business with and how there are people you should never do business with. And it is always revealed by what they do under pressure. Yeah. And so that was those first 2 years when this really began to grow organically, dynamically, and a little out of control. That's where I had some of those key learnings. I'm still learning them today and refining them, but assume good faith intention in others. assume self-consciousness in others, assume some people do not have the best intentions of others, and learn how to discern who they are early, and then stay on the true north to that all the time. That's what came out of my first 2 years. The first 2 years was about, and that took me to about numbers about $250,000 at the end of my second year. You know, some startups blitz that, but it was just me coaching one-on-one, doing my thing, just started the coaching school. Well, against some numbers it's not. You look at some startups, they were doing millions, but as a solo coach, practitioner, figuring stuff out, knowing where I'd come from, I smashed it.
Yeah.
I really, really did. I'm really pleased with it. I always look back with that with pride, knowing those numbers have been excelled by other coaches, but knowing what I had to personally overcome to have any chance of producing 6 figures. What a joke. 6 figures? Are you kidding? Really? Me? No one's going to hire me.
Yeah. And the key learnings and the philosophy that you brought to that, I can see how that's grown into the philosophy of the Coaching Institute now, and then what we're kind of now, the ripples that it's creating for our coaches. Because I remember one of the speeches you gave for us around, like, don't fuck with my clients.
Yeah.
You've never
tears in my eyes. You just don't mess with their clients.
Yeah.
Just you don't. That's the number one rule. Anything that hurts them, harms them, holds them back, you're the problem.
Yeah.
They are not the problem, you're the problem.
Completely.
They are never the problem.
Yeah.
And I just feel our job now, we're getting ahead of ourselves, is to hold them up and support them until they can see that and do that for their clients.
Yeah. And I think it's part of what helped our coaches create so much success is...
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Because you have some people who, because they have the strategies, you turn those lessons now into strategies and thinking and models and they can do the similar thing where they, even if they don't have the self-belief in themselves yet, they could do that. We were literally just before we got here from the office, someone was reading out so we do this thing where we brag about the shoot. So shoots would post up they'd share the success in the community, and we would turn down the music and make everybody stop, and we'll brag about the shoot's success. And someone shared that she just ran her first workshop. She's just got signed up for another 5. She's now teaching at one university. And
that's so cool.
She watched a class the other day on how to put up like her Facebook ad. And she did it handshaking, sweat, not know like, oh my god, it's never gonna work. I'm sucking at it. Yeah, completely. But she just followed the steps. So she didn't have a belief, but she just followed the steps. And she's got her first 5 leads for the first time from that. And she was so thrilled. And we have stories of that every single day of people who...
I'm doing a speech this weekend. I'm taking a brag bell. Did you know that?
Oh, are you?
Yeah, it's packed. I'm taking the very first bell that's worn out, and the other one's got the hole inside because we wore it out.
I think someone broke the bell
from bringing it so much. And I'm taking another bell. And I'm going to do the brag bell in this speech and show business owners you can get this unself-conscious. You can be this open. You can celebrate this openly without worrying about how you look. And we're going to do one right there on the stage and just and celebrate someone.
Brilliant.
I didn't have all this in the first 2 years. This has obviously grown from it. But
yeah, completely. And for anyone there who's thinking, I don't have that right now, I'd love to get some of that. You've written an incredible book, Just Hearts of Leadership, that really maps out such a beautiful pathway of how to go about creating this culture where the clients matter the most, and how we can bring everybody around, making them matter, making each person feel like they matter, and have a culture where people are fighting for their clients, fighting for the right stuff. Yeah, and have that good faith.
That book, Disruptive Leadership, opens on this horrible story.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes, I remember.
That story, that book had that idea of disruptive leadership and the critical alignment model, which we'll talk about in another podcast.
Yeah.
Because of that moment and that experience in the company.
Yeah.
And just, Sharon, you've got to get across this. You've got to get across why this bad stuff happened and how to build a robust enough culture that doesn't happen. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Back to the first 2 years. I didn't
So having that beginning and taking those steps and starting to, work on your nut sucking and starting expanding and having those opportunities come along. What were some of the biggest challenges that you
everything. So I will not put myself up as a poster child of success made easy, or that I swan, or that it's anything but the graft of overcoming personal limits. I am just not the person I don't ever want to be celebrated. Oh my gosh, she's been amazing from the beginning. No, I don't. And then when people come up to me and say, you're just amazing, I just love you. Hang on, let's just go through some of my flaws. Yeah. It's like, and it's not because I'm getting big hair or anything around it. It's like, truly, I am the person who has one tough step. And there are a couple of things around it that I have been very wise about and gifted around. So my coaching ability and my training ability, I know that there are very ingrained strengths in me. And I don't really have to tap into much of me to bring them to the fore. But in those first 2 or 3 years, getting up to the first million, everything was the graft of what is the way this works that I can cope with in terms of my own insecurities. What's the way I can do this that it really rocks their world? Yeah. And if there's ever any tension between the two, what are you going to do about you? Because it isn't them. You know, I remember one of our very first trainings that I ran, a lady, beautiful student, gosh, this is going back so many years. I wonder what she's doing now. She had been frigid for 15 years. And she wanted that solved in the room in front of 20 people. Wow. You know, you talk about getting over self-consciousness right there and then. Do you remember this, John? Yeah. Were you in the room? No. No. And I literally had to, I'm not going to say what I did, but I had to bring all of me, because she wanted that solved then and there in front of 20-something people at a training event, and there's no room for my self-consciousness. So that was a major breakthrough. Yeah. And I'm very proud of that. I don't talk publicly about what I did anymore because I am worried about the backlash and how far I'll go for my clients, and I'm tired of being critiqued and being misunderstood. So, but I went so far for this woman, and the group just, I can't describe to you the beautiful feeling of openness the room had, and how we all just felt this moment matters so much for this woman. She went, her and her husband, best sex life after that. Just so you know, it had happy endings, literally, metaphorically, happy endings. But that moment really taught me that my worry, concern, lack of openness, whatever, is irrelevant. Yeah. I've got to play full on. And that really, in coaching you can do that, and in training you can do that, in facilitation you can do that, as long as your audience is with you. We need to talk about that in a podcast about who's the audience that's with you. But to do that, then the biggest challenge was, well, how do I translate that to teams? You're saying, what's my biggest challenges? Because once I got through that, I didn't have coaching and facilitation as a challenge anymore. It's only ever been joy for me. It's been effortless, and I've only ever improved in all these years. I know that. Yeah, you bring the room with you beautifully. And maybe we'll do an episode on that as well. Yeah. You're the best in the world I've ever seen. Thank you. I'm sure I'm equal with a number, but thank you. But to do that, I just find that's effortless. It's just, it's one note of the piano. But to then I've learned something in my first 3 years, and it's going to work really well for me, and it's really working for them. Put that in my back pocket, we've got it. Yeah. Now how do I hire someone? And this is where the whole house of cards just kept crumbling down around my ears, day after day after day of crumbling ruins. I went through 5 PAs in 6 weeks. Like, who does that? And if anyone's watching thinking, well, how bad were you? Really, really bad. Really bad. Inappropriate. Clueless. Didn't know how to make requests of people. Didn't know how to give instructions. Didn't know how to give feedback. Did not know how to hold people accountable. My gosh, I was clueless. I literally had one PA in one day come in for a day's trial. Couldn't get out of there fast enough. She left her purse behind. That's how bad it was. It's really bad. Sheepishly, I think she sent a partner in or someone to come collect. I think she left a pair of shoes as well. It was really bad. I had one PA I hired, was so appalling, and it's a reflection of my choices, that they took the business laptop home to do some work, refused to come back, literally refused to come back to the office, then said, but if I bring the laptop back, you won't give him the job. Honey, you lost the job. You refused to come to the office. I think it's done. It was just the weirdest, dramatic, pointless drama that I experienced around hiring and working with people. It was always noisy. It was always dysfunctional. That's totally a reflection of me. I know that. So that was my biggest challenge, is how do I take the groove thing that I got going in my happy place and put it over into people who haven't asked for help. They've asked for, at this stage, just a paycheck. So I certainly didn't inspire anybody to vision. That's hilarious. So I didn't know, that was my biggest challenge. And I found it, these days, I find it, the toughest thing I find these days, I'm not in the business anymore, so we're going back a number of years now, and I'm sure you feel the same way, we've spoken about it, is finding people who are up for the level of awesome that we want to ride at. But back then it was just anyone who would stay. So really, could they stay long enough for me to pay them? I had a lot of casuals. I also found taking responsibility for finances impossible. I kept all my invoices in my head until I had to invoice someone. So I just would have 5, 6, and at one point 15 clients. And what I had to, I know, just so naive and so ignorant and so irresponsible. Other challenges, I didn't find any challenge with the workload. I had no trouble working really hard. As you know, I worked 7 days a week. I was working, do you remember this? I was working Christmas Day, JP, one day, because we had a family lunch like this in the morning, so I'm good. So I'll just squeeze some hours in, and the office was around the corner. The other big challenge, not big because my husband helped me so much with it, was thinking as big as I needed to. He saw before I did how far this could travel. And so I remember we were living different home to this, and he said, I've found a building for you to work from. It's not just an office to rent, you can buy it. It was $1 million. And I just can't do that. It's what if it doesn't work? This is really early in my coaching. He was looking at this building for 900 something thousand in my first 5 months, less. So he was seeing a bigger horizon than I was seeing. I was seeing, and he saw this horizon. So that's been transformative to the speed in which things grew then, because we did buy that building, and I can't remember the times, they've all blurred a little bit, but I did my first $70,000 month the month after I settled on that building, knowing I had to pay the mortgage and a whole bunch of other things. And he was awesome because he said, you're 3 months away from selling it, don't worry about it. If all goes bad, you're 3 months away from selling it. So every decision since then has been really big. JP, and he goes, you're 3 months away from getting it. You're 3 months away from getting it. So we bought this building, the campus we're in now, which is multi-million-dollar campus. JP, you're okay, it might take more than 3 months. But he did that for years to manage my sweaty palms. You're 3 months away from resolving a bad decision. And that's not always true, but it is a very lovely illusion to tell ourselves in the beginning to help us over the toughest stuff, because otherwise it seems quite insurmountable and quite terrifying, and you can't control it all. The moment you settle in your first office, you can't control it all now. It's some things are out of your hands. It's learning to, and business success, of course, is how fast do we grow determines how fast the business grows, and the business isn't going to outgrow you. So learning to handle that kind of stuff, to have the capacity to handle those decisions gets easier the more you do them.
How did you go about handling a decision like that? What would be the thinking that went on?
Oh, he's thinking, I'm 3 months away from it. No, really, that's all I had at the time. Now is it aligned with our vision? Is it aligned with our wealth strategy? Is it a good area? You know, I buy real estate now, very different criteria. Is it solid rental returns? That'd be nice with more of our stuff, but that's, my family lives in a couple, so there's no rent there, but where is business? There's much sounder criteria, but back then it was, I'm 3 months away from getting out of this and this area doesn't go down. And it really was getting the capacity to handle the decisions. The biggest challenge was capacity to handle the consequences of success.
Yeah.
You know, at one point I don't remember the numbers anymore. I really don't. I've told the story so many times, so if anyone remembers the story, feel free to correct or improve, but I could be embellishing, I could be understating, I don't know, but at one point I had 25 clients and 25 on the waiting list. Do you remember? Yeah, it's 25 clients paying me and 25 on the waiting list who paid me. I had $50,000 in invoices to earn. And just the capacity to handle hours and hours and hours of doing it, as well as handling trying to get a team together that looked like a team and not a dysfunctional family that wanted to kill each other.
Yeah.
And market and do sales and get on the stage. It's just the capacity. So Brett Sugars, the guy who made a mate of mine who back then wasn't a mate, but he said early when I interviewed him, when I was just getting to know him, just make more decisions than anyone else is making faster.
Yes. Yeah, I remember you showing that.
Yeah. So I took that. If they're a model of excellence, I don't question it. Yeah. I don't debate it. I don't figure out if they're wrong. I just shut up and I do it. So he said, just make more decisions than everyone's making. I said, give me a rough ratio. He said, well, everyone else would make about the number of decisions in a year that I make in probably a week or a month. I was like, okay, done. So I would make in a day so many decisions. Yeah. I didn't know. It didn't matter by the end of 7 days of 10 decisions, 20 decisions a day. It didn't matter with hundreds of decisions made, which ones worked, which ones didn't. Because I had so many irons in the fire. Yeah. And I still do this. I'm still doing it now, even though I'm not in any business. I have so many things going on. One thing can fall over. I have all these other wonderful things to track and to tap into and to enjoy and to wrestle with and to learn about and be challenged by and to grow from and build relationships around. So I would make, one day back then, 20 decisions in a day around who I was going to reach out to work with potentially as a client, what I was learning as a trainer, what I was learning about sales, and what program should I build. I was making so many decisions every single day. If something didn't work, I didn't notice it. Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. Didn't matter.
I love that ferocity, that ferociousness that you go about it with.
It really was and still is. I think it's very much still embedded in the TCI culture, particularly.
Very much so. And I love what you share around the fact that you have to grow that personal capacity to handle the success in the business that comes. I think it's a journey that some people often neglect. They focus on how to make the business successful, but it's never about the internal journey, how to make yourself capable of handling the success that we could create.
If you can't handle the decision, your business isn't going to grow. So handle the decision, or not handle it, but make it anyway. Yeah, that's what I did.
I think that's key as well.
I just made the decision and then worried, but still made the decisions. I've done it because then I bought the building next door. Literally just a few months later, the next million, and now I'm into mortgages and serious stuff. And it's like, seriously, we're still only 90 days away from getting out of this. And because I always thought I was facing impending doom. I thought the whole thing was going to come tumbling down any minute now. That's how I felt the first 2 to 3 years. It's all coming down on my head any minute if I don't just push everything. So my first few years, a lot of it was getting away from the fear of failure, getting away from the fear of never wanting to go back to where I'd been and where I'd been living, like I said in the previous podcast. I didn't want to go back to that. So a lot of what drove me early was nothing that psychologists would call healthy, but I don't care. Yeah. It really, really worked. Yeah. And, bring what works, Glam. If it works, you do it. And just do it. They call it a descriptive style. I would describe myself as a defensive pessimist. Yeah. Now, optimists can't stand it. But studies show being a defensive pessimist is a really smart way to be in business. So I'm a defensive pessimist. I look for the worst, how it could go wrong. I look for the gaps, prevent it going wrong through mitigating risk and contingency planning, and close the gaps. Great business. It is absolutely a fabulous way to get a startup going. If you're all optimistic and you can think it'll work out and they don't hire you and you don't get the gig and you are struggling to pay your bills, you don't have a home now. Whereas I'm mitigating the risk and building contingency plans in.
There's always so many different things.
There's always so many things on the go that anything can fall, and doesn't matter if I'm optimistic or pessimistic, I have other things working. So pessimism and optimism, you must have been such an optimist. No, I'm still not.
Yeah.
And it works. Being a defensive pessimist is literally a style of approaching the world that works. It's so effective for me. Show me the gap, I'll show you how to fix it. Whereas optimist, it's not that big a deal. It'll be fine. Don't worry about that. We'll deal with that later. Are you kidding me? It's a gap. Close the gap. Systemize it. Never have it happen again. There's one more thing I never have to worry about. And literally my first few years was just getting rid. I had a checklist. I don't know if you remember this, JP. We sat down at a different cafe this time and did a to-do list in categories. So that was the beginning of the critical alignment model. And I had 7 pages single, what's it called? Single line? Single space of things to do. Because I am really good at finding the gaps. Whereas the optimist would have like 3 things.
Yeah.
Build the business, meet some people, have some fun. It's like, no. My taking care of the detail got the job done. And now, of course, we've created the capacity to have other optimists now have room in your house. Yeah. Because the pessimist built it. And the pessimist is taking care of the fires. Yeah. So the optimist go, it's not so bad, it'll be fine. Yeah, because the pessimist took care of it. Yeah. And that's been in me from the beginning. I didn't even know that because I did NLP and I was saying you need to be moving towards and the goals that you're moving towards. That has not been my experience.
Yeah, that's such a good insight into how to create success in business because it's such an unpopular message.
Yeah.
I think. Everybody wants to be the optimist.
They do.
It's a bad thing to be a pessimist.
Apparently the way I'm doing it. But psychologists have moved a little bit now and they recognise defensive pessimism is a really effective strategy for getting the job done. It's when you take it into every area of your life, it can be a bigger challenge. But in business, man, I'm made for it. Because I will find the gap and I will close that gap. Well, the optimist, the pessimist is saying it's too hard, and the optimist is saying it doesn't matter. Or it'll figure out, or it'll work out. It's like, no, it won't. It'll work out because the pessimist is on the job. So anyway.
Would you say that's a skill that can be developed? So like for people who are listening to this right now, they're thinking, and they're wondering, all right, well, I can see that I'm doing that, or that's a gap that I have. So how would you recommend, what advice would you give in terms of how you go about building that muscle or learning how to do that? Well,
there's a time and a place for pessimism, and there's a time and a place for optimism. It is not always the time for pessimism. It is not always the time for optimism. It just isn't. It's not appropriate.
Misconceptions. Everybody wants to bring optimism to everything.
It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. When you're analysing, like we used to spend hours analysing our website and our metrics and our copy. That's all pessimism. The optimism is we'll get there eventually. But right now, when we're nitpicking the words, we're bringing the most focused, laser-like criticism we can. Because now is the time for diligence. Now is the time to nitpick. Now is the time to get this right. Then post it up. But it's not even optimism then. It'll either do well or it won't. And then you go back to the drawing board. And as we have with the bag. Do you remember the bag?
Yeah.
There was a design you're making. It's like we put hours into that. Yeah. And that wasn't about optimism. Like we knew in the backs of our minds, the backs of our hearts, we'll get there. But that's not the conversation we're having. Because the more diligent and detailed we can be now, the less pain we'll have later and the more we'd have learnt about what worked or what didn't. And because we put hours into it, your ability and my ability to make those decisions now is much faster. Whereas the optimist is still stuck with, it's a great website.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do this. They didn't critique and nitpick and criticise and be negative about it. Now, there is a time and a place for that. Yeah. One of the things I learned early is you start in the dream world and you don't do the critic.
Yes.
We're doing a dream world meeting.
Yeah.
Critics, your time will come.
Yeah.
But we've got to brainstorm and it's got to be optimistic and every idea is possible. Might not be good, but it's possible. And we learned this from Disney. It's the dream strategy. We're going to bring all of it and be outrageous. And I'm sure there's aliens. Why not? Put it on. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then my time has come, get me in the next room.
And then the cutting room.
Are you good in the next room?
Yeah.
I like
the details side of it and be able to kind of break it all down.
Yeah. And then
I think I learned all that from you.
Well, we love 3 stages.
Yeah.
Like let's dream,
Yes.
and control our urge to nitpick.
Yeah.
Do you have trouble with that? It's like, man, I really want to nitpick right now, but I'm just going to dream because I know it's going to tap into the kinesthetic of it. It's going to, I'm going to feel it. It's going to be fabulous, and greater potential will come from that experience. Then go through the door, go to another room. Like literally, sometimes it's a good idea to do that. So okay, what about this sucks, and where are the gaps? And then it's almost like six hats thinking. What aren't we thinking about? What aren't we attending to? We've got to take care of that now.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to another room after that, and I'll say, what's everyone else doing out there? What are my competitors doing? Or what are similar industries doing? Or affiliated industries doing? And I'll do the process again.
Yeah.
And then I'll do these 2 steps again, and then I'll go back. So a lot of it's micro to macro, and I learned that in the first 3 years. So I don't make a decision now.
What a valuable strategy. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
It works so well.
Yeah.
So it's just the diligence of the research. So I still, when I go on stage and I'm going to do a thing, I'll go and review the greats that I've got in my library. I have this amazing library in my my digital system. And I completely structured and organized. I can go to anything I want on any skill and I'll study it. Then I'll go to the internet, I'll study the latest. Then I'll have a view on my dream of my necessary room.
Yeah.
Then I'll go back and look again, and I refine through external.
Yeah.
Because the ideal strategies, we know from NLP, has got at least 3 to 5 pieces to it, steps, and 2 of those steps should be external. So I have to go external twice.
Yeah.
And I don't understand anybody not in business doing that. It's like, you want to rocket it, but you're just relying on your own thinking. You're self-perpetuating your errors. You're self-perpetuating yourself. I want to upgrade the mechanism.
Yes.
So those first 3 years, the way I got to my first million, I remember it. I was cracking the code on the strategy.
Yeah.
Not on business, but on the strategy.
Yeah.
Because that will take me everywhere in business. Learning how to do $1 million is not a skill I wanted. I wanted to do more.
Yes.
That was a stepping stone. So why would I learn and study the content of that?
Yeah.
I wanted a strategy that will get me further down the path because I wanted to ultimately be independently wealthy. So I couldn't just study $1 million. That can't be my obsession.
Yeah.
It had to be bigger than that and different to that. So the meta strategy is go outside, make a decision about what you want, go outside, see what they're doing, compare it to your dream room, compare it to your necessity room, go and do it again, refine, do it again and refine. I'll do that up to 8 or 9 times until I exit and we apply.
Yeah.
And that's how I've done nearly all of it since then. It's how I do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been absolute gold.
Good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for having me. That was fun.
Share with us what's been some of your key learnings, what are some of the pieces of gold nuggets that you've gotten out of this. Whatever platform it is that you're listening to us from, make sure you click subscribe and get access to the show notes, get access to the links, and join on the conversation. Share what you're loving and share what you'd love to hear more about.
Thank you.
I trust you got value from this podcast. We had so much fun and delighted in bringing it to you and for your loved ones. If you haven't yet, your subscription would be absolutely fantastic. Your subscription and your feedback means that we get to rate higher. If we get to rank higher, more people get to hear this message. You can also help out if you'd love to. Once you subscribe, by sharing this podcast with someone who you believe this message may resonate with and create a discussion around it. Just enjoy it and interact with it however you choose, but most importantly, we'd love your subscription. See you at the next episode.